everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Season 3 ERT. My name is Derrick.
And I'm Kara.
So, yeah, it's been a couple months since we made our last episode. We've done a few things.
Went
on a trip, went to a few theme parks.
Rode a couple roller coasters.
You know, the main thing. But, yeah, I guess our biggest activity that we did is we took a trip down to Florida, which first involved us going to Carowinds. We spent 2 half days there, I guess, if you can call the first day even a half day.
We were only there for a little bit, and then inclement weather kicked us out of the park.
Yeah, I think we were only there it was like maybe an hour and a half. We rode Intimidator, and we rode Intimidator. I don't even remember if we got onto Copperhead Strike, did we? Yeah, we just rode Intimidator, and that was it.
You mean Thunderstriker? I'm like, what is Intimidator? Yes, what are you talking about? You're in the wrong park. Old name.
Yes.
Get with the times. Jeez. I'm so confused.
I know, serious. It's still a better name. It's still burned into my head forever. It will always be Intimidator. So, yeah, since we're talking about, that ride, it's still kind of weird with that theming gone because the ride sort of feels, like, empty. I don't know, like, there used to be, like, the NASCAR, what's his name?
Dale Earnhardt?
Yes, Dale Earnhardt.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Butchered in the comments.
You are so rusty. Apparently it's been a few months since we recorded anything.
Yes, very rusty. But he's all that stuff is gone, all that memorabilia. So it just kind of feels it's just there. The ride's still good. If anything I'll learn away is my one hot take. Everybody seems to be hitting against Thunderstriker. And they praise Diamondback. But if you ask me, because I rode both roller coasters probably within like a few weeks of each other, I kind of preferred Thunderstriker.
I would agree. It's smoother.
Yeah, smoother. That's exactly what I was going to say. Sure, Diamondback does have a few more airtime moments, but by and large, they're more or less the same thing. I mean, yeah, you could pick out some things and say, oh, Diamondback's better because of this, but they're both good roller coasters. I don't know why everybody likes to really bash on Thunderstriker.
I mean, I love the splashdown on Diamondback. It's beautiful to watch. It's such a fun element, but it has that rattle, and it just never goes away.
Yeah. So, and then the next day we came back to Carowinds. We got to ride pretty much all the roller coasters that we wanted to, and then we pretty much head on out and started the rest of our journey down to Florida, where we spent a little over a week down there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah,
I mean, it's Florida at the end of August, beginning of September, so it rains every single day, but the storm comes and blows right through.
It rains almost every single day in Florida, as it is. But it's just how it goes.
We had a great time. It was just we spent a lot of time hanging out by the pool. We went to some theme parks. Obviously, we hit kind of like the regulars. We have gone to Busch Gardens, Tampa, and SeaWorld, Orlando every year since 2021. So, yeah, we're very familiar with those parks. And then we also went back to Magic Kingdom, which was very nice.
Which was amazing.
And then we took a very, very brief, maybe 30-minute detour over to Fun Spot America there in Orlando. And, yeah, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. But I guess the first off, I'm just going to jump right into disappointment, is we went to Busch Gardens, Tampa, and Phoenix Rising was not open. Very disappointing because the coaster just opened to the public, I don't know, like 6 weeks before we went there. Mm-hmm. So I thought it should have been in its prime, but nope, they were just testing it out, I guess.
They were testing it constantly.
Very rigorously testing that roller coaster that day. So I was like, are you really kind of confused about that?
It looked like the testing that happens before the ride opens, when they just run cycles again and again, and they had like the dummies in the seats for the wait, and it just kept going, and we were like, is it gonna open? It was weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. And then the next day we went to SeaWorld Orlando. That's always a tongue twister for me. And we rode Penguin Trek. It was fun.
It was fun.
Again, it kind of brings up something I gotta say about B&M this year. Their roller coasters have this weird rattle. Like Penguin Trek. Okay, another tongue twister. It's just the day for me on this. It's a family coaster, but yet the roller coaster very much shakes. Like,
I don't remember it shaking.
Well, it does. Take my word for it. I don't know.
Where did you ride?
I rode in the very front.
Okay, so we rode in the very front.
There are many others beside myself that will back this claim that the ride is shaky. Does it really matter? No. It does not bother you. You're not like you're going to get a headache or anything. It's just the train's just really shaky. Kind of like if you remember Manta at SeaWorld San Diego.
Okay,
how that train kind of like shook. So don't really get it. Obviously, we don't know how Phoenix Rising is. I'm also hearing that ride has kind of like a weird shaky rattleness to it. And then also earlier, we're going to rewind even before our trip, we made it to Dorney Park. Took us forever to get there, but we went to Dorney Park and we checked out Iron Menace. Easily, hands down, the worst roller coaster this year for me. I thought that ride was just bad. It has a nasty rattle, has some janky transitions, which is really weird for a B&M, like especially at the end. The roller coaster just kind of like snaps into place or something. It's really weird. It just whips you. And even like that final corkscrew is not really the best, but
I would say my experience on it, we both rode it several times. Mine, I wasn't as critical of it. I mean, there's definitely a shake. It definitely does not feel smooth like you would expect a B&M to feel, especially a brand spanking new one.
Yeah.
You were definitely much more critical of it. I don't know if it's just because of how the restraints hit differently. I mean, Derrick is much, much taller than I am.
Yeah, and I rode it 3 times. After the first time, I was like, I really don't want to ride this again. But I was like, maybe I had a really bad seat, bad car. I don't know. I was like, I'm going to give this multiple tries. So I really did. So the first time I rode it, I was in the front row. I think I was a little bit more towards the left side of the train. So if you sit on the wing seat, yes, it gets a little bit more aggressive with that shaking and rattleness. But if you sit towards the center, it's better. So my second ride, I rode in the very back center seat. So I know it's the back row. You do get a little bit more of a rattle, but being the center, I thought it'd be a lot better. And even that seat was still shaking. It was almost kind of hilarious how much the train was just shaking throughout the whole ride. I don't get it. And then the last time I rode again up in the very front towards the middle, and that was my best experience. But again, not enough to say that I'd really want to hop right back in line to ride it when that's a coaster that I think you should want to, because I mean, that's just kind of like how those dive coasters are built.
Yes, and it was very sad because when we were at Dorney, there was no line. You could just walk straight onto the coaster.
And the park was slammed that day. Now, granted, Dorney Park in the summer, everybody is in the water park during the day. Like, that water park is shoulder to shoulder.
Yes.
It is insane how busy that water park is. It is just completely packed. Everybody's in there. So we walked down to Iron Menace, and it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock, so midday, and it was just a walk-on. Yeah, I mean, most of the coasters were pretty much a walk-on, but that park was slammed. There was not a single spot available in that parking lot, which
that's a whole
I guess our whole
story.
Experience at Dorney Park. We're jumping all over the place, but why not? We're just going to go with it. So we're at Dorney Park, and yeah, that was one of our first weird experiences was the parking. They directed us. They told us exactly where to park. We went into the water park, and then afterwards, we're going to go back into the normal park, I guess. So I decided to take all our swim gear out into the car. Well, when I get to the car, I realized they practically double parked us in. And in fact, if we had a little bit bigger of a vehicle, like there was a truck next to us, they could not get out. The car in front of them was too close, and there was a car behind them. So they were stuck, and they were like completely furious, and it was very baffling because we were in the front row. Like, they directed us to park there, but then they decided to fill the little extra gap with more cars because that's how busy this park was. It was slammed.
Yes, well, when we left, you could see there were cars all the way to the end of the parking lot. There were cars in the grass. There were cars everywhere.
It was insane. But I managed to squeeze out via Kara's help. She had to get out, and she had to direct me through a couple spots because that's how tight it was. It was insane. But, yeah. I don't even, that was probably like the weirdest theme park experience of the whole year, going to Dorney Park. I hate to even sound like I'm bashing Dorney Park, but it just wasn't a good day. Not really saying the park's fault, but I mean, there were people, let's say, doing certain things we're not going to talk about on this channel. I don't know if I can say the word or whatnot. Maybe I'll have to beep it out. But nonetheless, in and out of the park, very obvious, very out front. Very not family-esque, I guess you could say.
Oh, we went into the bathrooms on the way out, and The bathrooms rivaled some of the worst gas station bathrooms that we have stopped in, and we've stopped in some really nasty places.
Yeah, it was just like they kind of gave up.
It was awful.
So overwhelmed. It was very obvious that the park was very overwhelmed that day. Completely slammed. Like we said, parking everywhere. Like any spot you could think of, they were trying to park cars. It was insanity. So, but yeah, Iron Menace. Something with B&M. Obviously, you can even go back where some people were saying about some of their previous B&M coasters having a rattle. We never been on Dr. Diabolical's cliffhanger, but I have heard the same thing. But very disappointing for a manufacturer that I always considered to be like the tip top, the best, the highest standard. And it kind of seems like it was slipping a little. But let's go back to Penguin Trek over at SeaWorld Orlando. We're jumping all over the place. Like I said, just go with it. So, yeah, fun little family roller coaster, definitely worth riding. And it leads right off and you go right into the penguin exhibit. Very fancy. However,
super fun.
I do have to nitpick one little thing. When you get off that ride, you have to go to the penguin exhibit. There is no go around it or some way to get you back to the beginning of the line. And to go through the penguin exhibit, it's not like you can just kind of like waltz through. You have to wait to be let in, and then you have to wait to get let out. So it's like this whole weird extra process to riding that roller coaster that seems kind of unnecessary. They probably need to fix that. Give it like an alternate exit.
Yeah, they need to add an alternate exit. Most people probably don't care. Most people just are happy to walk through the penguin exhibit. We were parent swapping, so we were trying to get off the ride as quickly as possible so the next one of us could get on. And it was just like, I don't need to go through all of this extra stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's super hot. Obviously, it's Florida. You go into this extremely freezing spot, and then you come back out. It's just like sense overload or whatever. But nonetheless, it's still a fun family roller coaster. The launches are pretty good. You don't really get much airtime on it. I haven't decided if I'll actually make like a formal review on the roller coaster, but it's a decent ride. Definitely something needed there at SeaWorld Orlando.
It fits in well.
Because they don't really have many family rides there at that park.
Correct.
So this was something definitely needed. They have a lot of bigger roller coasters with higher height requirements.
Yes.
They obviously have like the Sesame Place, but it's either really kid stuff to really big stuff. So this was definitely a good
it fits in really well. We only got to ride it one time though because we got kicked out of the park again due to inclement weather.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were debating about coming back because we do have season passes, and we just opted to go over to Fun Spot America so I could finally get on White Lightning. And, yeah, that was kind of disappointing. But like I said, we're not there yet. Let's jump over to Magic Kingdom. So the next day we went down to Magic Kingdom. Probably our best day there in Florida.
Oh, right? We had an awesome day in Magic
the park
Kingdom.
was not busy. And when I say not busy, it's busy compared to any other park. But for Magic Kingdom standards, it wasn't really that busy.
No.
The longest line that we waited for actually was probably for Tron or Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe. Because we did wait for the normal queue at Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. But it still wasn't that long, and it moved. We never stood still. We moved constantly.
And most of the day, there was kind of like this overcast. So it never got like excruciating hot at Magic Kingdom.
No.
It did drizzle a little bit here and there, but nothing really ever ruined it. It started drizzling more during the fireworks, but...
Well, it rained while we were having dinner. It rained pretty hard while we were having dinner.
Oh, yes, I did forget about that. Was that downpour while we were having dinner?
It was just, it happened so conveniently because it was dinner. We were inside of a restaurant. We were eating, and it was downpouring. And then it was done. It messed
up our plans a little bit because we were going to go ride Thunder Mountain, and they just weren't getting Thunder Mountain back up and running, or Big Thunder Railroad, I guess is really the true name. But so that wasn't up and running. And they have the virtual queue at that time, which they no longer have for Tron, thankfully. But you had to get the virtual queue for Tron and also for Tiana's Bayou. And our virtual queue did not get called until it was like 9 o'clock. So
for what?
For Tiana's Bayou.
Okay.
Which was kind of annoying because we were over in that area. It was like 6 o'clock. It just took forever. Like we were one of the last virtual queues for that day. Well,
the ride didn't open. Tiana's Bayou didn't open at the beginning of the day. It didn't open until like halfway through the day. So obviously that's why things got pushed so far back. But we rode Tron.
Yeah, so we rode it twice. Amazing roller coaster. I mean, I've been looking forward to this ride since I saw the POV of the Tron light cycle that's at Shanghai Disney. I always enjoyed Tron, the series. Good movie, especially Tron Legacy. Especially Tron Legacy. I really like the whole aesthetic of that movie. So yeah, the fact that they brought this ride to Magic Kingdom, it took them forever because they announced it in like 2017 or something, and then like 6 years later they finally opened it. But yeah, great ride. It's a little bit on the shorter side, but it fits in perfectly at Disney. Mm-hmm. In some ways, I kind of consider it like the successor to Space Mountain if Space Mountain wasn't actually there, because it very much feels kind of in that same line, except, I mean, this ride does go outside for that first turnaround segment, but yeah, it kind of feels like it's in somewhat repetitive to
well, because it
Space
sits
Mountain.
right behind Space Mountain.
Yeah, they're like right next to each other. And yeah, it's just strange because I mean, Space Mountain's all completely indoor, and they both kind of have, like I said, it's that indoor. It's just the aesthetic. Obviously, Tron has a little bit of its own style, but you could very much see how you could just replace one with the other.
Mm-hmm. But it was awesome. We loved it. Braylon loved it. It was a great ride. It was beautiful at night. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, I could just stand around watching that roller coaster all day.
Yes, 100%.
Especially at nighttime. Just the lighting package is fantastic.
Well, and for us as content creators, obviously I'm a photographer, Derrick's the videographer, they launch that coaster so regularly, and the train is just always coming by. So it's just amazing to stand there and to get different angles, and to, if you missed the shot the first time, well, it doesn't matter because the train's coming back.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And at night with all of the lights and the music.
Yeah, I just love, I mean, that's the other part that I really like about Tron Legacy is the soundtrack. So the fact that the ride is practically, it's just scored to the soundtrack. There's like, when you're on the ride, it has kind of like a little like remix version of it, I guess you could say, the way they kind of cherry pick certain elements of certain songs or whatnot, but very cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So, and then actually we did manage, or at least Braylon and I rode Tiana's Bayou. Kara did not want to ride it, mostly because it was getting late.
Well, it was very late. Leander did not want to ride it at all.
No, unfortunately.
We just ran completely out of time. The park was closing, and I remember from Splash Mountain days that the queue is insanely long, and it still is.
Yeah, it's the same exact queue. The ride, for all intents and purposes, it's still Splash Mountain. In fact, if you told somebody it was Splash Mountain that maybe hasn't been on a very long time, they probably wouldn't be like, oh, wait, what's all this Tiana stuff or whatever? It very much it flows with whatever the theming was before. It was just like better effects, I guess you could say. But by and large, I really felt like I was riding the same exact ride.
Which is good because Derrick is very sentimental over Splash Mountain.
Yeah, which kind of brings me up to this other topic I've been thinking about, like nostalgia. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, are we really parks holding back from making changes to these attractions that they really should do because of nostalgia? We always like, well, we can't touch Splash Mountain, you can't touch this ride, and we just kind of keep upgrading those same exact attractions instead of replacing them and building them with something new, which I always think wasn't that always Walt's vision is always innovating.
Right. His vision was that the parks would never stay stagnant. They would always change. They would always continually evolve.
And not to say that Disney World hasn't changed, because obviously it has. They just have like certain attractions, like they're staple attractions, and they're just always there. And kind of interesting that they have stayed around that long.
But I mean, the same is true of other theme parks too. I mean, think about Kennywood. Kennywood has their staple attractions that, if you removed it, people would riot. Like,
oh, exactly. I mean, Kennywood, if you would look at, like, let's say Walt Disney World and Kennywood, because they're clearly not the same kind of a park, but the nostalgia that goes along with it, I think there's a lot of very strong similarity, especially at Kennywood, down to like, there's a little sign over there. You can't touch that sign because everybody sees that sign. This little character, the cowboy sitting on the bench, or so many things about that park people consider iconic. And
That's a good word.
be it if it's like, if you were an outsider coming there, you wouldn't really think much of some of these things. You'd be like, okay. But for the local community that has pretty much grown up on Kennywood, yeah, they're very attached to these things.
Well, yes, because think about it. For if you live in this area locally, like say my parents, for example, my mom grew up going to Kennywood as a teenager. She grew up going to Kennywood on her lunch break to get potato patch fries. She obviously took us to Kennywood when we were kids. So like the iconic pieces of Kennywood, like Cowboy Joe and Laugh-N' Sal, and like these certain rides and certain food items, certain like the way things are designed and styled. It means a lot to my mom because my mom, it's been the same forever. And she has like extended that love to us by pointing things out to us. And we always take a picture with a cowboy and like all of these things. And that's not, my family isn't, that's not just us. Everybody does the same thing when you go to Kennywood. Everybody takes a picture with cowboy and you ride certain rides, and everybody has certain stories tied to certain rides, certain foods, certain things. So
yeah, which definitely, I mean, you definitely need these things to attract you back to a park. But at the same time, I kind of wonder, not everything can be like a quote unquote sacred cow or whatever at a park. Like at some point, things have to go to get replaced with something else, which Disney World, Magic Kingdom, they are doing that big expansion to their Frontierland. Very much needed. I think that's going to really breath of fresh air in that back section of the park.
Yes,
now, obviously, they're still leaving Big Thunder Railroad alone, and they're still leaving, obviously, Tiana's Bayou, because they just did the whole Tiana Bayou upgrade, or whatever you want to call it.
But they've announced that they are closing Thunder Mountain for the next year. They're going to do a big refurbishment on it.
Yeah, most likely what they did to the Big Thunder Mountain at Disneyland back in, I think it was like 2013, 2014, they updated the effects and everything, and that ride looks fantastic. So I'm assuming they're going to bring that same level of care and attention over to the one at Disney World.
Yeah, upgrade.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's just my own thought. Because I just think about like, okay, like it's a small world. It's like, I feel like you're obligated to ride some of these attractions, and some of these attractions are, I feel like, are past their prime. Maybe replace them with something else. And again, like I said, nostalgia, I'm probably going to get attacked in comments or something on this, because how I dare suggest tear out certain rides at Magic Kingdom.
How dare you?
I am, because yeah. I mean, that's why I look at it. But
everything doesn't have to be a thrill ride. Everything doesn't need replaced with a roller coaster.
No, I'm not saying replace them with roller coasters, just replacing with a newer attraction. Because Magic Kingdom, I mean, they're about to get completely walloped this next year with Epic Universe. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the park looks fantastic. The amount of rides and attractions at this new theme park is astounding, especially opening right out of the gate. Like, I don't know. You're going to have to spend days there to get it all done, because it looks insane.
And you can't, because you can only go spend one day there.
Yeah, I guess. That's allegedly, or I'm not 100% sure how that works. That's how I read it or whatnot.
Yeah, their ticketing is a little strange. But, I mean, I think
that's their way of trying to control the crowds, because everybody wants to go to this.
I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of people that will be there. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to make it there. I know this coming year might be the first year that we don't go down to Florida, which actually is fine. We've been going there for the past 4 years.
We say that every year.
Yeah, and then we won't go back. Yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens. But no, I really think we're going to hit more of like, I really want to get back down to Texas. So there's a lot of new stuff coming to Texas, like Coda Land. Allegedly, if that park finally opens, it's only been announced and delayed, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years now. So we'll see. But hey, their tilt coaster is going vertical. They've actually had a considerable amount of construction done on it. So there's that. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of tilt coasters, we did go back to Cedar Point. Earlier.
We did not go back to Cedar Point.
What are you talking about?
Not since our last video. We went in, June?
Oh, I thought because obviously we rode Tom Thrill 2.
Yes.
And then we went back. Were we still recording episodes at that point?
Yeah, we went back on my birthday.
Yeah, for your birthday. We went back on Father's Day.
Yes, it was over Father's Day. I don't know if we I feel
Had
like
an
it's
episode
been
since
a
then?
little bit sooner. I don't know. I thought we ended in June.
I don't know.
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
But yes, we did go back to Cedar Point. Obviously, they're getting Siren's Curse
Yes.
opening next year. A complete out of left field announcement. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody expected them to be announcing a new roller coaster, especially with the delays and everything that's been going on with Top Thrill 2, and that hopefully opening with a park in 2025. So Siren's Curse, they said it's not going to open with a park. They're aiming for a summer release, which is very rare for Cedar Point, but nonetheless, I guess they're saying June, July. We'll see what happens. But Top Thrill 2, they really want to get that open. So next year, I mean, to me, it looks like it's going to be knock on wood, could be one of their best years yet. So especially having Top Thrill 2 open and then getting this brand new tilt coaster, Siren's Curse.
I would say, what do you think about Siren's Curse? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it looks like a fantastic roller coaster itself, like especially in a vacuum. Oops. So yeah, it looks like a fantastic roller coaster by itself, as I was saying, in a vacuum. Is it exactly designed for Cedar Point? No. However, the coaster wasn't actually meant to go to Cedar Point. It was actually originally, this is a coaster that was supposed to go to Energylandia in Poland, and then they canceled or whatever happened with that whole project. And then Six Flags bought it, and it was supposed to go to Six Flags Mexico. And actually, it was even up until I think it was the beginning of August. They had announcements set to announce their brand new roller coaster. And they had, I'm really generalizing the whole scenario, but some conflicts with the local community government or whatnot. So they had to scrap it. And then I guess apparently Cedar Point was the lucky winner, and they picked the ride up really quick and like, hey, we can put it right here. So yeah, there's this new roller coaster coming. It's in a plot of land that nobody ever thought they would use, I guess. It's just there. And suddenly, hey, look, there's a place you can put a roller coaster there. But they're doing it. They're going to change that bypass, or I don't know what you call it. It's just the road that gets you to the back by the resort area. They're actually going to change a little bit, and there was like a parking lot I think they're like getting rid of, but that's where that roller coaster is going to go, in between pretty much where like Millennium Force and Valraven, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So once again, the Cedar Point skyline will change.
Yeah. It's not a super, I mean, they're still using the tallest, fastest, longest tilt coaster because there's only one other one that exists in the entire world. Kind of like saying, like Jersey Devil Coaster was the tallest, fastest, longest because, well, there were pretty much the only two other clones at the time. But nonetheless, yeah, it's going to be a good coaster. I'm a little concerned about capacity-wise. It's only designed to operate with 2 trains. And at Cedar Point, I mean, it's not going to be horrible. There's other roller coasters that have opened that have been worse at smaller or larger parks. Like you got Flash that has yet to open at Six Flags Great Adventure that runs with 1 train. So yeah, there's that. But again, like I said, this was very out of left field. I mean, I'd be very curious to know how this went down, because most of the time when the roller coaster is announced and goes to a park, it's like 3-5 years in planning. Like they know this ride's coming. And this roller coaster, as far as we're aware from rumors and everything that's pretty much been released, they had like a month notice, which is insane. From a month notice to start the whole process of construction, which they are doing. The roller coaster, as far as I'm aware, hasn't gone vertical, but they have leveled out the area, and I think they're working on the footers and all that stuff. But yeah, crazy how quick of a turnaround that is for a new attraction. It's almost unheard of, I'd really say. Like this is to me is way out of left field. Mm-hmm. That's all right.
The only other park that we went to was Hershey, right?
Yes, we did go to Hershey Park. We went there it's called their Dark Nights is what they call their Halloween events. I don't know if it covers like the entire day at Hershey Park, but nonetheless, yeah, we went there. We went a few weekends ago in September. The weather was
perfect.
Yes, it was. Was that still September or the beginning of October? I don't know. But it was 72 degrees out. Not a cloud in the sky. And we knew showing up that, like, okay, this park is going to get busy. We just accepted that fact. And yes, the park was slammed. The park was the busiest I've ever seen going to Hershey Park. Everybody was there. So, but we still had a great time. Since we got there, first thing there for rope drop, we went and rode Candemonium, got on Sky Rush, Storm Runner, and Wildcat's Revenge.
Yep.
Trying to think if we rode another roller coaster. You rode that mixed ride, but that's all in all their story in its own. But yeah, great day. And that was our first time riding Skyrush with the new restraints and the minimal theming that was added there in the station. So yeah, verdict, it's good. I mean, I think the new lap bar is decent. It's definitely an improvement from what it was before, especially like the seat.
I didn't think it was like amazing though.
No, it didn't. I'm unfortunately only got to ride it once. So I would like to ride a couple more seats to see how it really pans out. But I didn't feel, okay, so in the old lap bar, that ride sometimes terrified me, just how it just felt like you were hanging on by a thread sometimes, like the way, but again, that hanging on a thread was it digging right into your thighs. So this one doesn't give you that type of experience. The lap bar still gets tighter as the ride goes along, and then when you're on the brake run, it's still tighter. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't nearly the same experience with the old Skyrush restraints, but yeah, I don't, it didn't to me, it wasn't like, oh yes, this is just makes the ride completely better. The ride, if anything, the ride still has like a couple nasty rattle that happens, like especially around I think it's that first main turnaround after that first airtime hill. But after that, it's not too bad. But yeah, if they can fix that, that ride would be pretty much back to its former glory, would be my opinion. Because still a great ride. So for those who hated the restraints, you're going to be happy to know that you can go ride Skyrush and you should be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not my favorite. It's just not my favorite coaster. So
it is a very polarizing roller coaster in the coaster community. There's some that just love this ride to death. That's their favorite roller coaster. And there's some that don't like it at all. And to me, I don't want to say I'm like somewhere in between. It was my favorite roller coaster, I think, in 2014. And it was quickly replaced. But nonetheless, my favorite roller coaster, I really enjoyed it. And I still enjoy it, but I understand its flaws.
If I never had to ride Skyrush again, I'd be okay with myself.
I don't know if I could say that.
I'd rather go ride Wildcat.
Yeah, which Wildcat's Revenge was fantastic. Pacing. I thought the ride was running really good.
Best
really
ever.
Fast. Yeah.
It was so good.
Oh, yeah. Great roller coaster. But yeah, Hershey Park, always enjoy going there. Like I said, best weather, park was packed, but we knew that. Still had a good time.
We took the kids trick-or-treating. They do trick-or-treating through their water park, which is always great because, I mean, when you go trick-or-treating at Hershey, you get Hershey's candy, which is amazing. They had a blast. The kids loved it.
They actually handed out, like, good candy. Like
Reese's?
Yeah. Not pinpointing anybody out there in general, but we have taken the kids to some other trick-or-treat events at a theme park, and the candy or things that give you are, I guess, something to be desired. I don't know. But yeah, they gave you it was like Reese's, Kit Kats,
Jolly Ranchers, which was Leander's favorite.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. And then you could even go trick-or-treating over at the Chocolate World next to Hershey Park. And it only took you like 30 seconds. They practically just handed you a bag. So I don't know if you really call that trick-or-treating. It was just free candy. But they still gave you a decent amount of candy, too. It wasn't like 5 or 6 pieces. It was like 20 pieces of candy. It was pretty impressive. I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, we had a great day. Even though it was super crazy, we had a really great day.
First time we've ever waited for the Chocolate Factory ride.
Yes.
At Chocolate World. I've never waited. I practically always just walked right onto the ride. And when we went there first thing in the morning, it was a full queue all the way down to the entrance. I was like, I don't think we're going to wait for this right now. And then we came later, it still had a line. Like, we still waited, 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
Which, still unheard of for us going to. So that was definitely our sign to know that place was busy.
Yes, it was crazy.
So, very busy.
Oh, well, it was still fun.
But, that's pretty much in a nutshell. It's been very exciting. So, what do we have coming up? Honestly, not much when it comes to theme parks. We're heading into the fall, but we are going to be taking a trip. It's more of a family trip out to Arizona. Really looking forward to that. We're actually going to do some more sightseeing stuff, like going to the Grand Canyon, Sedona, deserty, whatever. So really excited. We're kind of crossing our fingers, hoping that the Mattel Adventure Park is going to open. They were broadcasting late 2024. And on the website, I don't see anything that says, so I don't know when that park is going to open. It'd be amazing if it did.
Removed like the timeline and stuff off of their website, and which is really sad because we are going late 2024. So we were really like, yay,
maybe we'll hit it. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we'll be there. And
we'll be back. I have family that live out there in Arizona, so we will be back in Arizona. But oh yeah, that looks like I think it's a small place, but it looks like it'll be really fun. I think the kids would love it. Really looking forward to that.
The kids would love it.
Because Arizona, Phoenix area really needs like another theme park of some sort that castles and coasters will not hold you over.
Oh, gracious, no.
But so yeah, what can you expect from season 3 of ERT? We're gonna have obviously some more exciting topics. Today was just sort of a smorgasbord of a bunch of randomness, I guess you could say.
Well, it's just an update to get back in the
just
swing
to get
of
in
things.
the flow. But I plan on having hopefully some guests. They may not join us physically here, but virtually, I guess you could say. And we hope to get more interaction from the audience. Obviously, feel free to shoot us some questions that you would like us to talk about, anything you'd like us to bring up. But yeah, really looking forward to get back in the swing of things. And thanks for watching.